Hello students, now we are moving to the next session, kinematic factor for the nuclear techniques for material analysis. How to find the kinematics of a reaction which is used for the material analysis. So we know that collision is the basic process behind every material analysis process. So derivation of kinematic factor is a very important thing. You all will be familiar with the term kinematic factor, which is involved in the process of collision, as the collision process will be familiar to you from the undergraduate level. So let us consider the schematic demonstration of an ion scattering from a surface of the atom. You can see here an incident ion which is having mass m1 is getting scattered by an atom which lies on the surface of a target. So target taken, that target is shown in this ash color. This is the target, or the whole material is a target material. All these atoms are target atoms, and the surface one, the atom which is lying on the surface one, that is the scattering center. So incident ion which is having a mass m1 is falling and it is getting scattered by this marked atom which is in ash color. Then it is getting scattered as mass m1. There is no change for the mass, so scattered particle also has mass m, but it has an energy E1 because incident energy was E0 and scattered energy is E1. And as a result of this scattering, what happening is that the atom m2, the mass is m2, atom scattering center has a mass m2, that atom is getting scattered. It moves in this direction. It moves as m2 with energy E2 at an angle phi with the original direction of incident ion, and theta is the scattering angle, and this scattering angle is calculated from the original direction to the present direction of the scattered ion. Okay, so that is the basic thing that we have to consider here. Now incident velocity of the incident ion is V0, and let it make an angle alpha on the target atom with mass m2. That angle alpha is here we are not considering that. Anyway, the ion is scattered through an angle theta with respect to the incident direction, losing its kinetic energy to the target atom. That is why the target atom is moving in a particular direction. Then the scattered ion process kinetic energy E1, then its velocity will become V1, while the target atom which recoils with the kinetic energy E2 is having a velocity V2 now. Then it goes at an angle phi with respect to the incident direction. Applying the conservation laws, first of all we have to apply the law of conservation of energy. Energy before collision is equal to energy after collision. So finding out total energy before collision, we are taking kinetic energy equal to half mv square equation, and half is common for LHS and RHS. So we are getting m1 v0 square is equal to m1 v1 square plus m2 v2 square. Okay, that is the equation. Then by rearranging everything, you will be getting it as v2 square is equal to m1 into v0 square minus v1 square. So you are getting an equation for v2 square. Now applying conservation of momentum. Total momentum before collision is equal to total momentum after collision. So applying that, the equation will become m1 v0 is equal to m1 v1 cos theta plus m2 v2 cos phi. Why it is written like that? Equation number 3 is written in this manner because here you have to resolve the vector, momentum vector, into two directions, because it is not moving in a horizontal direction or a vertical direction. It makes an angle with the incident direction. So you have to resolve it along horizontal and parallel directions. So first of all you have to write horizontal component, then vertical component. Write the conservation law in both horizontal and vertical directions. So when you write it like that, you will be getting momentum perpendicular. When you consider a perpendicular component, you will get equation number 5, that is 0 is equal to, initially the particle was at rest, so 0 is the momentum. Final momentum will be different. So m1 v1 sin theta minus m2 v2 sin phi, that is equation number 5. Then rearranging and the equation squaring, it will become m1 v1 square sin square theta, that is equal to m2 v2 square sin square phi. Then adding equations 4 and 6, you will be getting a very small equation, which is equation number 8. By applying the trigonometric formula cos square theta plus sin square theta equal to 1, you will be getting equation number 8, that is m1 square v0 square plus m1 square v1 square minus 2 m1 square v0 v1 cos theta, that is equal to m2 v2 square. Again, equation number 2, which is equation number 2, it is v2 square is equal to m1 v0 square minus v1 square. This equation number 2 is substituted here in equation number 8. Then you will be getting m1 v0 square plus m2 v1 square, sorry, m1 m1 square v1 square minus 2 m1 square v0 v1 cos theta, that is equal to m2 m1 v0 square minus v1 square. So v2 square is substituted as m1 v0 square minus v1 square. Okay, so you'll be getting equation number 8. Then 9. Then the whole equation is divided by m1 square v0 square. While you divide this m1 square v0 square, you will be getting 1 plus v1 square by v0 square minus 2 v1 cos theta divided by v0 minus m2 by m1 into 1 minus v1 square minus v1 square divided by v0 square. Now I am going to take the ratio of the masses of the recoiled atom to the incident atom, that is m2 divided by m1. I am taking it as a constant value a, setting m2 by m1 is equal to a, and rearranging the above equation, you can write v1 square by v0 square plus into 1 plus a minus 2 v1 cos theta by v0 plus 1 minus a is equal to 0. Okay, so this equation, it is a quadratic equation in v1 by v0. As you can see, this v1 by v0 x square plus bx plus c, it is in the form of this equation. Here instead of x, you can see it is v1 by v0. So v1 by v0, this equation is a quadratic equation v1 by v0. So solving a quadratic equation using the formula x is equal to minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a, you will be getting x is equal to v1 by v0, a is equal to 1 plus a. I'm giving this substitutions here. What is a here, what is b here, and what is c here. Writing from the equation number 11, you will be getting x is equal to v1 by v0, a is equal to 1 plus a, b is equal to 2 cos theta, and c is equal to 1 minus a. So applying that in equation number 12, you will be getting the solution as v1 by v0 is equal to 2 cos theta plus or minus square root of 4 cos square theta minus 4 into 1 plus a into 1 minus a, all divided by 2 into 1 plus a. You will be clear when you write it separately, this derivation, you will be clear with it. Then this equation reduces to cos theta. You can cancel out the common terms. This 4 can be taken out of the square root, and 2 and 2 can be cancelled in the denominator and numerator. v1 by v0 will become cos theta plus or minus square root of cos square theta minus 1 plus a into 1 minus a divided by 1 plus a. Now this is equation number 14. Then multiplying out the terms included in the square root, we will be getting square root, this terms in the square root or square root can be simplified by multiplying the terms together. So, and applying the trigonometric formula cos square theta plus sin square theta equal to 1, you will be getting v1 by v0 is equal to cos theta plus or minus square root of a square minus sin square theta divided by 1 plus a. Then here we are going to introduce the term kinematic factor. Kinematic factor K is actually the ratio of the energies of the scattered particle and incident particle. So that is the importance of the term kinematic factor. It involves the whole energetics of the reaction. What is meant by energetics of a reaction? Energetics means how energy is getting converted as a result of this reaction. So incident particle is having an energy E0 and the scattered particle is having energy E1. Then if you find the ratio E1 by E0, then you will be clear with all the energy transactions of this reaction. Everything will be embedded in that. That is why the term K, the kinematic factor, is so much important in collision reactions. So K is E1 divided by E0, and you know that what is E1? E1 is the kinetic energy of the outgoing particle, so it will be half m1 v1 square, and E0 will be the energy of the incoming particle. Obviously it will be half m1 v0 square. So taking the ratio, it will be m1 v1 square by m1 v0 square, or it will be v1 square divided by v0 square. So what we want to know is the kinematic factor, which is defined as K is equal to m1 v1 square by m1 v0 square, which is v1 by v0 the whole square. What we obtained right now is v1 divided by v0. So just squaring that term, you will be getting kinematic factor. That is how it is obtained here in the final equation, equation number 17. K is equal to E1 divided by E0 and is obtained by squaring equation number 16, and it is obtained as 1 by 1 plus a the whole square into cos theta plus or minus square root of a square minus sin square theta whole square. Okay, so it is the kinematic factor. So with this equation, with the term kinematic factor, this is the basic theory behind collision. Also, this is the basic theory behind different types of material analysis techniques. And on the basis of the value of this theta, you can classify different types of scatterings. If theta, what is this theta? This theta is actually the angle between the scattered particle and the incident direction. So it is a scattering angle. So if theta is equal to 0, what does it mean? There is no deviation for the outgoing particle with the incident particle. So there is no scattering. Then if theta is 180, what does it mean? If theta is 180, that means that particle, the incident particle, is getting rebound. Okay, maximum scattering is happening there. So the particle is getting rebound. That is why the angle between the incident direction and the scattered direction is 180 degree. So here our interest now goes to that angle. That is, when theta is equal to 180, what is going to happen? So for theta is equal to 180, I am going to apply in this equation theta equal to 180. Cos theta, value of cos theta is taken, sin theta is cos 180 is taken, sin 180 is taken, and applied in this equation number 17, and I will be getting K as a minus 1 the whole square divided by a plus 1 the whole square. And this is the case for Rutherford backscattering. So slowly we are entering from the theory of kinematic factor to the first method, Rutherford backscattering. So this is the case for Rutherford backscattering. So when scattering angle theta is equal to 180, our kinematic factor reduces to K is equal to a minus 1 the whole square divided by a plus 1 the whole square, where a, what was a? A was a constant which is assigned to the ratio of the masses that we have done earlier, ratio of the masses. So we need to know the ratio of the masses only to find the kinematic factor at theta is equal to 180 degree, which is Rutherford backscattering. So what happens for theta equal to 0? That I have explained earlier. When theta equal to 0, that means there is no scattering happening. So when you apply it in this equation, you will be getting E1 is equal to E0. E1 divided by E0. The kinematic factor is getting equal to 1. When kinematic factor is equal to 1, what does it mean? E1 by E0 is equal to 1. That means E1 is equal to E0. There is no change in the energy of the incident particle. That is the forward scattering. But we are interested in backward scattering. That is Rutherford backscattering. for theta equal to 180, that is the case. Hence, as the scattering angle increases from 0 to 180, the scattered energy decreases. At angle theta equal to 0, there is no change in energy, but as we move from theta equal to 0 to 180, the result is scattered energy decreases. Scattered particle energy decreases. So, it will be desirable to carry out the experiment at the backward angle. Why? Because the detection and the evaluation of further evaluation of the particle which is getting after scattered will be very easy if its energy is small. If it is a very highly energetic particle, that process will be difficult. That process will require complex experimental setups. But if the energy of the scattered particle is low, the analysis and further calculations will be much easier than the energetic particle. So it would be desirable to carry out the experiment at a backward angle, and hence the name Rutherford backscattering.